Hi, everybody. I'm Stuart Fischbein. I practiced obstetrics for 40 years, 28 in the hospital setting as a private practitioner in Southern California. And the next 12 and a half years I spent assisting families in home birthing. I began doing home birthing partly because the hospital was no longer tenable for me. They began to ban VBAC. They began to ban breech delivery. I was working collaboratively with midwives. They banned the midwives. And I didn't want to get into a legal battle with them, so I decided to leave, and it was one of the best decisions in my life because for 12 and a half years I helped women have breech babies at home, twin babies at home. I had type 1 diabetic moms have them at home, hypertensive moms have them at home, because the model that we're taught in a medical school and residency is not a model that really applies to most women. I'm now retired from clinical practice, but I host a popular weekly podcast, and I'm actively teaching breech and twin skills around the world to honor choices in women's autonomy. I want to start out a little bit today. Oh, first I want to thank Deborah and Emma, and of course Maddie and MAHA Foundation for having me here. It's really an honor to be here. Just a bit of history. In 1970, not too long ago, the United States had a cesarean section rate of 5%. Almost no mother was induced in labor. Less than a third had ever had a single ultrasound. There was no routine screening for diabetes or group B strep. There was only amniocentesis for genetic testing, and it was used sparingly. Breech and twin vaginal birth were routine and taught as a core skill. There were no vaccines given to pregnant women. Continuous fetal monitoring did not exist. The Friedman labor curve was in its infancy, and newborn intensive care units were barely a thing. Everything was paper charted, and the idea of electronic medical records was unimaginable. The American College of OBGYN, founded in 1951, in 1970 had no guidelines, zero. There was no high-risk specialty in obstetrics, now known as maternal fetal medicine, and having a baby was a special time of joy and wonder and family. In 1977, the Society for Maternal Fetal Medicine was established and describes itself as a not-for-profit organization, I'll let you think about that for a minute, dedicated to improving maternal and child outcomes. That was in 1977. Since the founding of the Society of Maternal Fetal Medicine, the United States cesarean section rate has risen 600% to about 34% of pregnancies. Since 1990, the rate of induction has tripled to more than 30% of women. Most women have multiple ultrasounds now, including the use of high-intensity, non-ionizing radiation color flow Doppler. Diabetes, prenatal genetic testing, and GBS screening are routine. 98% of breeches and 75% of twins are not offered a vaginal delivery. 4 vaccines with 6 antigens are strongly recommended by the American College of OBGYN. Continuous fetal monitoring is now hospital policy, and vaginal exams to plot progress on a labor curve are the norm. The rate of postpartum hemorrhage has doubled in the last 20 years. Newborn intensive care unit admissions have nearly doubled in the last 15 years. Electronic medical records are now mandatory. ACOG now has hundreds of guidelines. And there is rarely a mother who makes it through the standard obstetrical pregnancy without consultation with a maternal fetal medicine specialist, projecting a lot of fear and anxiety onto our mothers. If, as we are told, the goal of the specialty, maternal fetal medicine, is, quote, dedicated to improving maternal and child outcomes, unquote, which is in their statement, you must believe that all the advancements I just described are beneficial and they must surely lead to a commensurate improvement in outcomes. But we'd all be wrong. The rates of stillbirth, cerebral palsy, and neonatal morbidity have not improved since 1970. We spend more per capita on care in the United States, yet the neonatal death rate ranks 54th in the world. The rate of maternal mortality and morbidity has risen, and reports of mothers feeling unsupported and with emotional trauma are now common with lasting downstream consequences. Our children and women are less healthy by nearly every measure. Our immune health begins in the womb, and how we are born can set the stage for a lifetime of health or chronic illness. The pharmaceutical-based intervention-filled model of medicalized birth has not led to better outcomes, as evidenced by the 55 years of history I just went over. In fact, there's good evidence to suggest that the obstetric model of care has negative efficacy. They have replaced the innate normalcy of pregnancy and birth with a fear-based approach that interferes with nature's design. A mammal needs to labor alone, where she's safe, quiet, and unobserved. Right? Pretty much everything that's done from the moment, not even talking about prenatal care, from the moment a woman gets into the car and drives to the hospital in early labor until she puts the baby in the car seat to drive home, everything that's done to her is antithetical to nature's design. Things that you do to the woman in labor you would never do to your dog or your horse or your cat if they were in labor. We have seen a meteoric rise in interventions over the past 50+ years: labor curves, fetal monitoring, ultrasound, induction, cesarean section, epidural anesthesia, without any commensurate improvement in outcomes for mothers and babies. In fact, there is good evidence, as I said, of non-benefit. If we are truly interested in the MAHA, or Make America Healthy Again, then a sea change in the approach to pregnancy is necessary. We should return towards the principles of wisdom of traditional midwives, the true experts in normal birthing. And I know this because I did spend almost 30 years working directly with midwives, the first bunch in the hospital and then in the home setting. I'm a very unique position because I lived in both worlds. Doctors who work in the hospital criticize home birth. Some home birth people criticize hospitals, but a lot of times there's no crossover. What we need to do is break the silos. We need to have women who are using a home birth midwife. The midwife should be able to go to the hospital and spend some time there. Third and fourth year medical OB residents should spend time with a home birth midwife. We should cross over. We should break down these walls. We should return toward the principles of wisdom and traditional midwives, the true experts in normal birthing, while we preserve the hospitals for only those mothers and babies that truly need it. As MAHA moves forward, it would be a huge mistake to rely on the organizations and academic institutions that got us into this mess, which I'm talking about the Society of Maternal-Fetal Medicine and the American College of OBGYN, and I could throw in the American Academy of Pediatrics in there as well. Institutions that ACOG will fight to hold on to power and claim dominion over the midwifery, which they're already doing, and they claim dominion over the birth industry. We don't think that that should happen, and we hope that the press will ask ACOG some tougher questions. Stop fawning over them. They're not representing what most women need. We are excited to be a new coalition of health professionals with a proven track record of better results. And as a group, we are ready to fill that leadership vacuum in maternity care. So thank you.